Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm continuing on with, as you can see, my journal through Thoth, the tarot cards. And I'm on to the Empress, and I could not believe all the information that I found. I added two more books in that I'm looking through. This one here, the Tarot Handbook, and you can see the author there. And this is another workbook that I found by Mary Greer, and it has some good information too. So now I have three books that I can gather information for my journal and my exploration of the Empress. So let's begin. So first off, we've got the planet Venus and love. And this is the beautiful Empress card. She is referred to as the mother, the source of life, the vessel, the channel for birth. And that doesn't have to be just as in babies. It could be whatever you're working on that you're nurturing, because this is the great goddess, Mother Earth, mother also of material. And that for me comes up quite a bit because I do look at her as connected to the earth element. Now, what can we say about her? Well, she's round in the illustration. There's a lot of that soft, curvy look to her. And it echoes throughout the card, and we have the very fluid type water here with tons of symbols. So yes, round, soft, growth oriented, and it can sometimes be for pregnancy. But again, this could be something that you're giving birth to yourself. Now, the dove is up here in the right corner, and that talks about being the holy feminine, the virgin. Now, the dove, it's also great for, and there's another one here, the sparrow, spiritual messages. This one sort of sits in her past, so it could be messages from the past. And the one over here, tuning into the spiritual messages to help us move forward. We've got a lotus here in the center, and it is noted that it's right near her heart, which is, her heartfelt nature, her loving nature that she really brings to her projects, and the fact that she's nurturing and loving and coming from that heart space. So it talks again about the left hand is open, and it's really neat to see how she is drawn with the shape of the hand, almost like she's holding a baby. Really kind of neat. So she's into cradling and nurturing and protective nature that she is, and receiving. So she's looking towards the future in order to receive this gift that she can nurture here, this project, this idea. Could be a relationship with someone else. And then down here on the shield, that at her feet, there is the white eagle. And that talked about alchemy, hope, rebirth. And the two-headed nature is sort of indicating partnering, and through partnering, bringing a change. At the bottom here, we do have the symbol that stands for Daleth, or door. And that door is the bringer of life, sort of like the channel that the woman brings the child into the world through. So with this, when you get this card, you could be looking at the fact that, doors are open. Who are our supporters? Who are we supporting? It's such an intriguing card. It has so many things to offer. Now, the sparrow was referred to as like lustfulness and Aphrodite. And I didn't quite catch all of that. It wasn't making as much sense as the bird itself being a messenger. And I can get the excuse me, the idea of it's sitting there and she's looking to the future, and that is in the past. So I did like that. but she balances between them. So I think there's something to look at there between the past and the future and staying balanced in order to nurture what needs to be nurtured. And the ribbons, this is again that fluidity, that water element that flows, the feeling that moods can shift and change. She's not rigid in any manner. The pelican down here, another sign of motherhood, sacrificing time and energy to nurture these little 4 babies down here. But it did say in one of the books that these babies could represent the undeveloped parts of us that need nurturing. That was enlightening. There were suggestions of using rose oil because that's a very feminine oil, clary sage for intuitiveness, and sandalwood for, staying calm. I like the fact that we did still have the cycles of the moons being indicated. And one of the books, I can't remember which one, talked about that magnetic pull, like with the moon, going through the cycles, that growth, that decay, but also being magnetically pulled to people or situations, either to share our love and wisdom or to, accept it. So she's all about giving and receiving. If she was reversed, that's where she comes into that self-indulgence. And they talked about maybe she's possibly the stepmother, and then she's not so kind and she's not so generous. She might be a little bit inflexible, harsh. So one of the things that came up were some questions. If you got this card, one of them was, does a relationship need healing? When you see her appear in your tarot reading. Now I'm going to have to hope that everything is in view. I have this page full and I had to add some more because the books are just giving me so much more information. I might actually have to go back to the Fool and the Magician and the High Priestess and add in more, because I like the fact that I was able to get more, but I want to return to the fact that some of the questions that came up were interesting. For instance, if you got her, what are you nurturing? What needs nurturing? Who inspires you? Could even be, what is developing? Do you sense this? And are you a supporter or are you being supported? Those were great questions. And I also liked the one book, and that was this one here. And by the author there who said, when we approach life from an attitude of love combined with wisdom, we will resist the need to overgive or push to make things happen. And from that, we learn trust and we learn balance. Now, because it's a number 3, that's where this extra insert had to be placed in, because it wanted us to look at other cards within the deck itself that also lended energy, I guess, to the 3. So I'm going to pause for a second and pull out these cards. Okay, I have all the cards at hand. So the first one we want to look at is the World card, because 10s change to the digit 1. So we have 1, 2, 3 digits. It adds up to 3, basically. And it suggests that in this card here, the Empress influence is that we are expressing, we are sharing our love with the world. Kind of nice. And then we go on to the Hanged Man. And because that adds up to 3 again, with this one, it indicated that we're hung up, yes. And the idea is to break destructive patterns that bind us, that hold us back from expressing or sharing our love. And then the Three of Swords would be this one. And it said there, its meaning basically is with the influence of the Empress in mind and the number 3, that sorrow is held in the mind. Old wounds and sorrows of the past are still influencing us. So that would need to be dealt with. The 3 of Coins, it indicates that, you've got things covered. There's a clear priority. Things like the wheel are in motion. And I like in this card how it's similar to clouds around here, but things have cleared. And you've got the power here of this symbol bringing it all together. The 3 of Cups talked about abundance of feelings shared. Yes, and I look at the 3 of Cups as support from others, that they share your idea, they share your love for whatever you're working on, and they support you. And then with the 3 of Wands, that was honesty working with integrity. And that's usually the one that we see where the gentleman is on the cliff waiting. He's done his work. He's just waiting to see how things progress. So those were kind of fun to look at. And on this next page, I wanted to, if it came up in a reading and you were looking at relationships, it says, yes, there could be changes. And because it is the 3 and the mother figure, that change could be a baby coming in. But she's very much about healing, that need to nurture the emotional connections. She can, yes, be a mother. Maybe she's a sister that watches over you, an aunt, a grandmother, whatever. But there is that caring and protection, and that can inspire you. So there's the urge to devote yourself to a project also, an idea, something that you're passionate about. Now, there were some more symbols here. I'm just got to remove this. There were a few paragraphs around the bees that lent themselves to community and working on projects and perceptions. The fleur-de-lis that is hard to see down here on the bottom, that was also called the 3-pronged flame, and it stood for mind, heart, and spirit. There was a little bit more on the lotus, and these 4 points being the gift of giving mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. So that was fun. I kept coming up against these bubbles here. You can barely see them. And I didn't know what that was, but because they sort of intersect by the blossoming here, lotus, and near her heart as well as her solar plexus, it just said in one of the books that it indicated unity of mind and heart coming together with these 2 very faint spheres. And the extra sphere back here was like the moon, and how it's illuminating her thoughts, her wishes, her desires. So when I think of a circle, I think of things complete, contained. There's no harsh edges. That wholeness. And they talk in the circles too about no beginning and no end. But then there was also this symbol here that appears sometimes in emperor cards that we see. And it was called the globus cruciger. And it's about internal and external worlds and keeping those in balance. And right above the head there, it's those thoughts. So one of the strong points coming throughout the three books was this little bit here. Love is the most powerful force and energy. And if you've got the Empress, this is what she embodies. So I'm going to leave it for that, I think, because I have the idea of looking through my collection for decks that embody the energy, I guess, and the idea of love, caring, nurturing, and honoring, I guess, the feminine. So I'm going to call this what I've just showed part 1. And then part 2, as I say, will be showing you some decks that I get the feeling of this love, this support, this generosity. So if you're following along, I hope that that extra information doesn't overwhelm you, but sort of gets you stimulated to go on and see with me what the Emperor is about in the next couple of days. Have fun with this. I hope, again, that it's not overwhelming. And anything that you have to share that will enlighten me that I can add into my book, I would appreciate it. So I look forward to hearing those comments. Thanks again, and we'll see you back here on Craigie B.